Why, hello YouTube, Balormage here again, and this is our second D4 video, still having an absolute bucket load of fun. However, there's been a slew of Diablo content out there, and I know not everybody has watched everything. So, this has already been covered on other places, but I'm not sure it's been made clear how important or how impactful it is. What you can see in the background is me and some friends running around doing some Lilith statues. Now, what these statues do and when I think you should do them. To begin with, I don't think you should worry about them while you're still progressing into World Tier 3. You should still focus the campaign and still rush World Tier 3 as quick as possible. However, once you get to World Tier 3, and you farm up just a few sacred items so that you can comfortably kill world mobs, I think you should take the time to go and collect these statues. Now, there are, I don't even know how many statues in the world, 100 and something of them. There's more than 150, less than 200. And I will say this did take us a little tiny bit over 2 full hours. So maybe I don't suggest doing absolutely all zones all at once back to back like we did. We have problems. If you're a normal person, you're probably not going to want to do 2 hours of collecting all at once. But it is separated into 4 zones. So I do think that you should go and maybe do an act worth of collecting and then go play for a bit. And then like later on when you feel like another half an hour, go do another half hour worth of collecting in the next zone. And, you know, just move around until you've got all the zones done and you've collected all of the statues. I would not do this until you're in World Tier 3. However, those statues, each one of them, of the 160, 170 odd statues, I forget the number, each one of them gives either 2 strength, 2 int, 2 willpower, 2 dex, or the occasional dud one that gives you 5 max orbs. There's not very many of them. And the occasional really good one that gives you 1 extra paragon point. So realistically, it's a ton of power. And I didn't realize how much power it would be. My current sorcerer, who's level 60, now has 220 int. I'm still very undergeared. I haven't made it to World Tier 4 yet. 68 of that 220 int came from just doing the Lilith statues. That's more than a quarter of my total int. And int for a sorcerer is my main damage stat, and it's a separate multiplier from every other damage stat in existence. So that multiplier went up by quite a lot. That made me a lot more powerful. But it's not actually the int that I'm loving the most. I also got 68 strength, 68 willpower, and 68 dex. And those are all my off stats. And those all became much better. So I actually got like a lot stronger defensively, which was my weakness. And it was a noticeable amount, way more than you would have thought. Way more than I would have thought. Unfortunately, I don't have like specific numbers of like, oh, it made me 20% tankier or do 14% more damage or whatever. I don't have the specific numbers. I only have feeling. And by the time I was finished with it, it was a massive power spike. Massive power spike. Way more noticeable than I ever thought it would be. And most importantly, it works on every single character forever. You don't have to do this every league. You're not going to have to do it at the beginning of next season. You might touch statues you go past just to get a little renown next time or next season, but you definitely don't have to go and hunt every single altar like we did now. This is a once-off deal. You will get these stats forever unless you change game modes, unless you go from hardcore to softcore or from softcore to hardcore. You'll have to do it again if you do that, but otherwise it's the same. And this part's very important. If you have any intention of re-rolling, you must also do it. So let's jump in game real quick. So here it is. Here's my sorcerer. And considering I got 68 stats total from running these things, I've only got 190 strength. That flat armor is actually quite useful. That extra 68 flat armor, super useful. Even my int, which is my main damage source, 68 on that number, big number. That's a big number. Even the willpower and the crit, those being relatively low as well. All of these, huge numbers, super helpful. Can't express it enough. But what it's most important for is ults. So let's swap over to an ult. All right, let's just cut this a little bit because there's no point in this being in here. All right, so here we are on an ult. Now, I'm not ready to reroll. I'm not making an ult. I made this purely for the video, and I'm probably not going to be a barbarian when I do reroll. But purely for this video, leveling ults is going to be insane. I did not realize how insane. For starters, we start with 9 healing potions. That's just from normal progression and renown points. We start with 10 passive points just at level 1, and that just came from, I think, mostly renown. I'm not actually sure, but at level 1 we've got 10 passive points as well. Level 1 you get your mount, so that's great. That's going to make things really quick. But what's most important is I looked it up on max roll, and the standard barbarian starts with 10 strength, 8 dex, 7 int, and 7 willpower, according to max roll. I suspect, yeah, that's it. And so these are huge numbers. This guy is just completely juiced. If you're gonna make any ult, you must do these ulters before making an ult. You start with everything. Your ults are going to be so strong. I have to say, I haven't done it yet, but I really do think that D4 might have nailed the perfect balance between like leveling ults very quickly and skipping it like D3 did. Because D3, to me personally, D3 was unfun. You made an ult, the leveling process was just unfun. You made an ult, a buddy invited you into a thing, and in 4 minutes you were at end game, and that was skipping the whole thing, and that was a little too fast for me. But the alternative being like, I'm leveling for like 8 or 12 hours, way worse. Didn't want that. Giving me this level of power at level 1 and then letting me like free world and giving me the mount already is definitely going to make my ult leveling way quicker. I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be amazingly fun. Anyway, that's all. This is a big PSA. Please go do your Lilith stuff almost as soon as you hit World Tier 3. I left it way too long and I struggled way too hard for way too long. Huge power spikes. Go and get them. I hope everybody's having fun. I am, and I will see everybody next time. Goodbye.